Hiawatha and the Pearl Feather. On the shores of Gitchigumi, of the shining big sea water, stood Nokomis, the old woman, pointing with her finger westward, over the water, pointing westward, to the purple clouds of sunset. Fiercely the red sun descending burned his way along the heavens, set the sky on fire behind him, as war parties when retreating burn the prairies on their war trail. And the moon, the night sun, eastward, suddenly starting from his ambush, followed fast those bloody footprints, followed in that fiery war trail, with its glare upon its features. And Nokomis, the old woman, pointing with her finger westward, spake these words to Hiawatha: Yonder dwells the great Pearl Feather, Megisogwon, the magician, Manito of wealth and wampum, guarded by his fiery serpents, guarded by the black pitch water. You can see his fiery serpents, the keener beak, the great serpents, coiling, playing in the water. You can see the black pitch water stretching far away beyond them to the purple clouds of sunset. He it was who slew my father by his wicked wiles and cunning, when he from the moon descended, when he came on earth to seek me. He, the mightiest of magicians, sends the fever from the marshes, sends the pestilential vapours, sends the poisonous exhalations, sends the white fog from the fenlands, sends disease and death among us. Take your bow, O Hiawatha, take your arrows just beheaded, take your war club, Pagawakan, and your mittens, Minjikawan, and your birch canoe for sailing, and the oil of Mishinama, so to smear its sides that swiftly you may pass the black pitch water. Slay this merciless magician, save the people from the fever that he breathes across the fenlands, and avenge my father's murder. Straightway then my Hiawatha armed himself with all his war gear, launched his birch canoe for sailing. With his palm its sides he patted, said with glee, Chimoon, my darling, oh my birch canoe, leap forward, where you see the fiery serpents, where you see the black pitch water. Forward leaped Chimoon exulting, and the noble Hiawatha sang his war song, wild and woeful. And above him the war eagle, the Kinu, the great war eagle, master of all the fowls with feathers, screamed and hurtled through the heavens. Soon he reached the fiery serpents, the keener beak, the great war serpents, lying huge upon the water, sparkling, rippling in the water, lying coiled across the passage, with their blazing crests uplifted, breathing fiery fogs and vapours, so that none could pass beyond them. But the fearless Hiawatha cried aloud and spake in this wise: Let me pass my way, keener beak, let me go upon my journey. And they answered, hissing fiercely, with their fiery breath made answer: Back, go back, O Shogadoya, back to old Nokomis' faint heart. Then the angry Hiawatha raised his mighty bow of ash tree, seized his arrows just beheaded, shot them fast among the serpents. Every twanging of the bowstring was a war cry and a death cry. Every whizzing of an arrow was the death song of a keener beak. Weltering in the bloody water, dead lay all the fiery serpents, and among them Hiawatha, harmless, sailed and cried exulting, Onward, O Chimoon, my darling, onward to the black pitch water. Then he took the oil of Nama, and the bows and sides anointed, smeared them well with oil that swiftly he might pass the black pitch water. All night long he sailed upon it, sailed upon that sluggish water, covered with its mould of ages, black with rotting water rushes, rank with flags and leaves of lilies, stagnant, lifeless, dreary, dismal, lighted by the shimmering moonlight, and by will-o'-wisps illuminated, fires by ghosts of dead men kindled in their weary night encampments. All the air was white with moonlight, all the water black with shadow, and around him the sigima, the mosquito, sang his war cry, and the fireflies, wawatesi, waved their torches to mislead him, and the bullfrog, the dahinda, thrust his head into the moonlight, fixed his yellow eyes upon him, sobbed and sank beneath the surface, and anon 1,000 whistles answered over all the fenlands, and the heron, the shashagar, far off on the reedy margin, heralded the hero's coming. Westward, thus, fared Hiawatha, toward the realm of Megisogwon, toward the land of the pearl feather, till the level moon stared at him, in his face stared pale and haggard, till the sun was hot behind him, till it burned upon his shoulders, and before him, on the upland, he could see the shining wigwam of the Manito of Wampum, of the mightiest of magicians. Then once more Chimorn he patted, to his birch canoe said onward, and it stirred in all its fibres, and with one great bound of triumph leapt across the water lilies, leapt through tangled flags and rushes, and upon the beach beyond them, dry-shod, landed Hiawatha. Straight he took his bow of ash tree, one end on the sand he rested, with his knee he pressed the middle, stretched the faithful bow-string tighter, took an arrow jasper-headed, shot it singing at the wigwam, sent it singing as a herald, as a bearer of his message, of his challenge loud and lofty. Come forth from your lodge, pearl feather, Hiawatha waits your coming. Straightway from the shining wigwam came the mighty Mesisogwon, tall of stature, broad of shoulder, dark and terrible in aspect, clad from head to foot in wampum, armed with all his warlike weapons, painted like the sky of morning, streaked with crimson, blue and yellow, crested with his eagle feathers, streaming upward, streaming outward. Well I know you, Hiawatha, cried he in a voice of thunder, in a tone of loud derision. Hasten back, O Shogadoya, hasten back among the women, back to old Nokomis, faint heart. I will slay you, as you stand there, as of old I slew her father. But my Hiawatha answered, nothing daunting, nothing fearing. Big words do not smite like war clubs. Boastful breath is not a bowstring. Taunts are not as sharp as arrows. Deeds are better things than words are. Actions mightier than boastings. Then began the greatest battle that the sun had ever looked on, that the war-birds ever witnessed. All a summer's day it lasted, from the sunrise to the sunset. For the shafts of Hiawatha harmless hit the shirt of Wampum, harmless fell the blows he dealt it. With his mittens, Minjakawan, harmless fell the heavy war club. It could dash the rocks asunder, but it could not break the meshes of the magic shirt of Wampum. Till at sunset Hiawatha, leaning on his bow of ash tree, wounded, weary and desponding, with his mighty war club broken, with his mittens torn and tattered, and 3 useless arrows only, paused to rest beneath a pine tree, from whose branches trailed the mosses, and whose trunk was coated over with the dead man's moccasin leather, with the fungus white and yellow. Suddenly from the boughs above him sang the mama, the woodpecker. Aim your arrows, Hiawatha, at the head of Mesisogwon. Strike the tuft of hair upon it, at the roots, the long black tresses. There alone can he be wounded. Winged with feathers, tipped with jasper, swift flew Hiawatha's arrow, just as Mesisogwon, stooping, raised a heavy stone to throw it. Full upon the crown it struck him, at the roots of his long tresses, and he reeled and staggered forward. plunging like a wounded bison. Yes, like Peziki, the bison, when the snow is on the prairie. Swifter flew the second arrow, in the pathway of the other, piercing deeper than the other, wounding sorer than the other, and the knees of Mrs. Sogwan shook like windy reeds beneath him, bent and trembled like the rushes. But the third and latest arrow, swiftest flew, and wounded sorest, and the mighty Mrs. Sogwan saw the fiery eyes of Parguk, saw the eyes of death glare at him, heard his voice call in the darkness. At the feet of Hiawatha, lifeless, lay the great pearl feather, lay the mightiest of magicians. Then the grateful Hiawatha called the Mama, the woodpecker, from his perch among the branches of the melancholy pine tree, and in honour of his service, stained with blood the tufts of feathers on the little head of Mama. Even to this day he wears it, wears the tufts of crimson feathers as a symbol of his service. Then he stripped the shirt of wampum from the back of Mrs. Sogwan as a trophy of the battle, as a signal of his conquest. On the shore he left his body, half on land and half in water. In the sand his feet were buried, and his face was in the water. And above him wheeled and clamoured the Kinyu, the great war eagle, sailing round in narrower circles, hovering nearer, nearer, nearer. From the wigwam Hiawatha bore the wealth of Megisogwan, all his wealth and skins of wampum, furs of bison and of beaver, furs of sable and of ermine, wampum belts of strings and pouches, quivers wrought with beads of wampum, filled with arrows, silver-headed. Homeward then he sailed exulting, homeward through the black pitch water, homeward through the weltering serpents, with the trophies of the battle, with a shout and song of triumph. On the shore stood old Nokomis, on the shore stood Chipaebos, and the very strong man Kwasind, waiting for the hero's coming, listening to his song of triumph. And the people of the village welcomed him with songs and dances, made a joyous feast and shouted, "Honour be to Hiawatha! He has slain the great pearl feather, slain the mightiest of magicians, him who sent the fiery fever, sent the white fog from the fenlands, sent disease and death among us." Ever dear to Hiawatha was the memory of Mama, and in token of his friendship, as a mark of his remembrance, he adorned and decked his pipe stem with the crimson tufts of feathers, with the blood-red crest of Mama. But the wealth of Megisogwan, all the trophies of the battle, he divided with the people, shared it equally among them.